Okay, and just like that, we're back. There are a few things that I was meaning to tell you. One, when the pork chops are done, get a fresh plate. Don't ever put cooked meat on a plate that you've used for prop, especially if it's had raw chicken or pork on it. You will, however, there are a couple of exceptions to this rule, and that's when I'm barbecuing. I will actually take and use the same plate, but I never serve on the same plate unless I'm the one that's eating off of it, because I know what to do. So we've got 3 minutes left on our cook time for our pork chops. We'll be at the 45-minute mark. Now is when you can actually start checking them. They've cooked almost a full hour if you take in consideration the 6 minutes per side that they've fried on. So it's almost been an hour. The potatoes still have 10 minutes, so I'll probably let this go for another 10 minutes. About 2 minutes before I want to make the gravy is when I'm going to add the cold water to this. And I'm going to use a wired whip. I'm going to use the wired whip. And ideally, I'd like the big one, but I don't know. Oh, it's enough. Mind? I'm going to use the big whip for this. That just helps me get rid of any lumps that the flour may have. And I'll show you that process. It's really easy. I've got 15 more minutes, so I've got my water ready to go. I'm just going to take a little look. This has plenty of water in it. I have 2 minutes. I'm probably not going to add a lot of this, but don't dump this out. You may need to thin your gravy. Sometimes when you do gravy, it can get awfully thick. And sometimes you just need to thin it out if you put too much flour. I will come back and I will show you what I mean. Okay, I'm back just like that. The pork chops have one more cycle. I put just a little bit of the water that I had. I'm reserving this for when I do gravy. My potatoes have a little bit more than 6.5 minutes, or just under 6.5 minutes. You might notice back here that I cut some French bread. I had some French bread from a couple of days ago. I made garlic bread with one of the French breads. When I did a very quick meal, I made I actually just heated an Alfredo, chicken Alfredo pasta meal. That was really quick. Went to the local market, got some French bread. I'm just going to serve olive oil and a little Parmesan Romano with that. That's kind of a staple in our household here that we like to do. My husband loves bread with olive oil. He's loved it ever since I've taken him to Paris, and I've shown him my Italian ways of how to eat good bread. So he enjoys that. We've got the mashed potatoes. My husband made nice salads. At this point in your cook, you don't really need to let the pork chops go for another 15 minutes. If your potatoes are starting to get done sooner than the 15 minutes, you're okay. As long as you've gone at least 45 minutes, you're going to keep a check on your pork chops. And I'm going to kind of show you what they look like as I drop the lid. Hold on. Okay. So you can kind of see this. Again, you want to make sure that they're not stick. But now you should be able to actually, they should be able to do that. They're actually, let me put you back down. They're actually fully cooked. The longer they go, the softer they're going to be. It's fine. Just before you're ready to do your gravy, what you're going to do is you're going to add water. This is a lot of flour. I'm not going to use all of this flour. I'm going to use it, mix it, but I'm not going to pour the mixture into the pan. If I did that, I would have cement. If you have a little bit of too much flour, don't use all of the flour once you incorporate the water in it. it's fine. You don't need to. Just make sure that you do not reuse this after you use it for gravy. You're gonna throw the rest of the flour out. If you think you just have too much flour in there and you don't want to try to mix it with cold water, throw half. You can even throw half of this out. I'm gonna see how much there is, because I'm gonna try to stretch our gravy to go a little longer, since I have mashed potatoes and I have the pork chops, and I'm not doing an additional gravy on the stove. Sometimes my husband will make a pork gravy, and I don't have one conveniently, probably. Oh, well, I have country gravy. When you go to the grocery store, you'll find down the spice aisle, and usually the spices will be not too far from where the baking is. But you'll find packaged gravy, and they make all kinds of gravy. They make beef gravy, gravy for meatloaf, gravy for pork, gravy for turkey, chicken gravy. But you can find these, and then on the back of them, they'll have your instructions. This happens to be upside down, but it's very simple if you want a quick gravy and you're not doing it homemade. This is a very, very simple, basic gravy to serve with our pork chops. And I'm going to show you how we do this in a few minutes. I'm actually going to stop the video right here. I'm going to be right back to show you how we do our gravy. That too. Anyway, welcome back. Our potatoes, my husband is starting to mash them. He's going to add probably a tablespoon of sour cream to the potatoes, because that's pretty much all we have left. Maybe a little bit more. But my pork chops are fully done. Do not turn the temperature gauge off at this point. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. And this is going to be a little tiny bit tricky, so I'm going to put you guys down here. And unfortunately, okay, I'm going to see if that'll work. I might have to push you guys back a little bit. And hopefully that's okay. Okay, our pork chops are perfectly cooked, and you can kind of see I put them both on a clean plate. I've got my water boiling in here, and that's what you want to do, is let all this to boil. I'm going to try to maneuver around my husband. Okay, you're going to want to add enough cold water to smooth this out. And you'll notice this is pretty thick. I'm going to thin it out just a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. You just want to basically be able to mix it, and you want no lumps in it. Now, make sure your frying pan is boiling, which it is. I'm going to add a little bit more of the hot water just to get that. Now, when your pan comes up to a boil, what you're going to do is you're going to whisk while you're pouring this. So I'm going to just start to pour it. And what I'm doing is whisking this. It's going to start to get thick. And if you have some lumps from the pork chop that was sticking, don't worry about that. That's going to add added flavor to this. And like I said, I didn't use a lot of this. the gravy is actually thickening, and hopefully, I'm hoping you guys can all see that. See how my gravy is thickening? That's all you really need to do. Is do that, and the gravy is pretty much done. It's not going to make a lot, like I said. And like I said, you're not going to use this whole thing. You're just going to do enough to thicken it. You do want to cook it for a couple of minutes. There's nothing worse than tasting raw flour in your cooking. So just let it cook for a couple of minutes while you're whisking it. Now is when you want to taste for seasonings. Spoon over here. And you don't need to go crazy with your tasting. That is more than enough to taste. And actually, it doesn't need anything. The salt and pepper that I put on the pork chops was enough for the gravy. So I don't need to add anything to this. I am going to add a little bit of water just to thin this out a little bit. Like I said, this does not make a lot of gravy. If you're a bigger family, you might want to think about making a packaged gravy to go along with this. Now that this is done and is cooked for a few minutes, go ahead and turn your heat off of your fry pan and you're ready to serve. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're going to plate up and we're going to eat. So bon appetit to you all. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the next cooking video. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button if you want to see more fun videos of me cooking.